Oh, you run a meeting? You want to run a meeting?
Okay. So let me start. Today we will discuss the driver object, and I will invite towards his new ideas about the new driver design.
So Coco will talk about it.
Oh, okay. Now, let me see.
Do you have anything to share on the screen?
Yeah. Oh, how can I send a message?
There's a chat button at the end, like at the bottom. There.
I just list some of the ideas, maybe not that mature, and on the etherpad, the August 6th IRC Driver Meeting, and I gave the two examples of how can GPU or how can FPGA give the data to the driver and to the agent. And I think the data we need to form. I want to first share you is that the data.
Excuse me. Can we hold a minute? There is something wrong with Sanda's Zoom client.
Oh.
She cannot run the meeting.
Okay.
Thunder is coming.
Also, yeah.
So this time you can just watch my example, and maybe you can give some ideas or some suggestions.
Could you share the screen while you're talking?
Okay, I just share you the link, and maybe you can open the etherpad.
Okay.
It's too tough to use in English.
It's okay.
Okay.
Just practice.
So can we both hold the meeting by Zoom and IRC? Yes.
Yes, I think that is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, let me start the meeting in IRC.
So Thunder cannot join the Zoom?
Yeah, Thunder can also I believe she wonder why we switch to Zoom.
Hi, Adley, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Good morning or good evening.
For me, it's good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. Where are you at?
San Antonio, Texas.
Oh yeah, I remember you were in Texas. Is under here? Oh, I see his name.
Yeah, I see.
But he
She joined
muted himself. Let me unmute it. Can I? It's on
So are you guys all on the IRC?
Yeah, I'm on the IRC.
Can't log in.
Is it?
So, Coco, I think you can go ahead.
Yes. First, I give two examples. How can the driver send the data to the agent, and this is the structure of the data. I think this is what I can think and sort of. What I can think of. So maybe you guys can just add give some suggestions. Shaohe, since you are familiar with the FPGA data, so do you think what I list here is proper?
Which code? I cannot see your screen.
Oh, I just give the etherpad link. You can open that link.
Okay, can you share the link? Share your screen.
I
and open
share
the
the. Okay. Can you see?
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah.
I think what I give here is just it's like more like a JSON format. So let me first introduce the base. I think the base object should include the name or address, and this is like a VF or VF object and PF object can all use this base. And
So this is the object that will pass from the driver to the agent, right?
yeah, I think what I'm a little different with the object, with the deployable object or accelerator object in with the DB is that I bring this common data or common key here. So
Right.
So I think in our agent, first key is the host and then which host is this kind of card is, and the driver should also report the type, which is also obvious, and the accelerator number. I think this can be this is optional. Maybe we can discuss later. And what's important is the accelerator list. The accelerator, which I mean here is just a physical device, and I think the physical device should have some common features like the board vendor assignable.
It's like assignable. Assignable. This is probably not related to
Okay.
accelerator yet. Because assignable,
Okay.
the reason I
It's-
put it there was for the PF or VF.
Okay, so I can move it to the basic.
No. Can you all hear me?
Yeah. Oh, Sander. Hey, nice to hear you. Yeah.
Hello from
Hey.
Hi.
Quick question.
Mhm.
So can we first start by saying what is the problem with today's structure which we're trying to solve?
The problems, I think, today we are going to talk about the
What is the
Asian.
motivation for these changes?
Because we have different drivers, and the agent need to do many work if we don't have the unified data structure. So I think the driver should report to the agent maybe the unified data structure.
I think
So
the problem we're trying to solve here is when we report something from the driver's side, the agent needs to understand what are the informations there, right? So Coco proposed. So this is how the agent should take care of the data, right? So when we take.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. I can hear you, Sander. Can you hear me?
So, Leek, could you please write the problem down on the
Okay.
etherpad? Yes.
I'll stop typing.
Yes, I agree. We need a common way. We already have something defined. We probably need to extend that further. So the question then becomes like, what is missing in today's specifications and definition of structure?
Hey, Sander, are you still there?
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Sorry.
Okay. Let's try and type in the chat in case you can't hear me.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. So what was the question again?
The question is like, we already have one specification covering this kind of agent driver API, right?
Yeah, but we only defined we only defined that there's a report API, right? Oh, sorry, discover API, but right now we're down to the implementation of after like the discover API is being called, what should be the return and how we take care of the return value for like how we should take care of the return information and then put them into the database or something like that, right?
Okay. Sure.
I think if the agent can do the usage update or other methods, which is common for different drivers, so the driver need to report the a common information.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay.
So what I listed here is based on the FPGA and the GPU information. So I think other type of the driver may be the same as these two. Okay, so I just said that they are host type. They are host and a type and the accelerator list. And what
Again, the assignable shouldn't be there.
Yeah, so the assignable is not the feature of the accelerator, right?
Yeah,
It's
it
just
should belong to a PF or VS. So
okay. So PF or VF.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so in the PF, one I think the one physical card or one device may have at least many PFs. So this is not the GPU use case, such as I know the QAT, in the QAT card they have two PFs. So
Yeah.
I have the PF list.
Yep.
So the PF in the PF list also we should define whether it has a VF. This is a common data. So if it's GPU, so the VF list is empty. I think the VF list is required. So
what does the address mean here? Should it be the PCI BDF?
Yeah, I think the address here just refer to the PCIe address, which is the BDF, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because in the database design, I didn't put it too specific to PCI. That's why I put just the address, which is just a handler where you can find where the device is, right? The address could be an IP address if it's a network device, right?
Since it's a PF, the address will always look like a BDF rather than a MAC address, right?
Yeah, but in in my database, I did like in the database design, I didn't put PF or VF specifically. It's all deployables. Deployables could be PF, VF, or anything else.
yes, there are a type which can define identify whether it's VF or PF. Is a type.
So So not to go off on a tangent, but even in the database, I think storing PF and VS the main object will probably not be desirable in the long term, right? We already have placement related objects like providers and such. If you have equivalent things in database, we can correlate the PFs and VFs to that. You should probably still have the resource providers in the deployables database, right?
So it was what could you say it again?
Okay. So if you store PFs and VFs as the main object in the database, that makes the whole thing PCI centric.
No. Well, because when I save it in the database, it's still deployables, but PFVF is just a instantiation of the deployables, right? Essentially, they're just deployables, but it happened to be this PF or VF is. This deployable is a PF or a VF. It's just how we allow the driver to report if it's a PCI device.
Correct.
Yeah.
This portion is okay. When you discover something, you report the bunch of PFs and VFs found there.
Yeah.
You also need to find other things. I'm saying the database, when it actually recorded it, we also need to record the things like resource providers and classes and other things.
Okay, resource providers.
Yeah.
Could you give an example of what the resource? So you want the driver to be able to report the resource provider, right? That's what you say.
Yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't report resource provider in the sense of NOAA thing. It reports what regions it finds, for example, for FPGAs. The agent can translate that to a resource provider, which it reports the Cyborg conductor and to the placement.
Okay, so you want to be able to report, but could you give an example of what?
Yeah, so maybe you can write down in the etherpad.
So could you just type in there where you want to put that information? And
okay, so I should etherpad Rocky development. Let me go there.
Around the line number 140. That won't help. You send it. It's okay.
Line number 140. Okay. Okay. Here, should I put it at the bottom? So
just put wherever you think is appropriate to be, right? I mean,
okay.
Are you typing?
Yeah, I'm typing at line 162 instead of interrupting this flow.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Lee. Lee?
Yeah, I'm here.
What Sander write down here the region? Is that same as the PF?
It's not the same as a PF actually.
It's
a region is
entirely the same, but I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry for barging in, but a region is a portion of the FPGA fabric, which is independently programmable. So this is what we defined in the previous discussion also, right? Like basically each region can be exposed or tied to a VF, for example. So region is what we expose as a resource provided to Nova. And the fact that it's tied to a VF is something that Cyborg knows about. So Nova says, use this resource provided. Cyborg will say, okay, I'm going to take the associated VF and start using that.
Mm-hmm. So you want the region information also kept in the report, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's actually a Cyborg driver agent API. We can probably enhance that. We have some specification, but I'm sure it can be improved.
Let me see. Where is that? Oh yeah, right. Jar should include the following.
I'll put okay. I'm putting a link to that spec so far. Some fields to form the traits. Is it attributes list? Okay. We do need fields to form the traits. That is part of specification to things like region type ID and function type ID are listed there.
I see. Are you referring to something like this? Let me paste it here.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So this belong to one accelerator, right?
This belongs to one region. For now, you could say
Well,
one.
this entire thing should belong to one accelerator. See here, there's a list of 8 regions here, right? There's a
Okay,
list.
belongs to one device. Yeah. Okay. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, hey Coco, one thing we could do is on the side of what we have already here, like you paste it here. We could have another session on like added just specifically to FPGA. For instance, we can have let me go up here. Let's see, it's an ACC topology, something like that. I'm just giving an example, wild example, and then that put that JSON like the JSON over here.
So even if it's not FPGA, you can still follow a similar format, right? Don't need the regions list.
Yeah, but they could have their own topologies, right? But this is like because this looks to me very specific to FPGA.
Mm-hmm.
Like PR, this is very specific to FPGA.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we could have a common field like at line 111. We go up 111.
Okay.
Go up. What line 111? Hey Coco,
yeah.
go up. Yep. See there, like we can put one extra field.
Mm-hmm.
And just put a topology of like all of these, like those chunk of stuff over here. Put
Sure.
in there. And that way.
What you mean regions in the topology?
Yeah. So that topology itself contains another JSON format that contains like this region that referred by sender.
Sure, that makes sense.
Right, and
Okay.
and that way, well, shall we have a reference here somewhere for the regions that points out their corresponding PF to the region?
Yes, yeah. So I think what you're saying is we can have one set of regions, one set of PCA functions,
Mhm.
Within the region, there'll be pointers to the PCA functions, which one is associated with.
Okay, 1 second. Let me, Coco. Let me just put it here to make it
Okay.
to make it clear. So it will be something like this.
Mhm.
Uh,
So the region is different with the PF.
it's
Yeah.
it's kind of different.
Okay.
Let me see if the enclosure is right. So ACC topologies. I don't really need this.
So it's empty for other kind of.
I think we don't need the
accelerator.
vendors and products, right? These are should be contained outside.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, I just take it out and just see. Okay, there's a PR number, device, path. Do we need this? And then region.
The device is basically just another PCA function. Can probably take that out,
Yeah.
or we can tie it to the PF. Consider it's a PF for these ones.
Let me see.
That's not necessary because anyway it's included anywhere elsewhere. The only thing is within the region, we have to probably give a VF pointer.
Okay. Yep. So here, PF. Just put PF. I mean, and then PF.
Mhm.
Let me just put this as an integer. Like this refers to the number 0 of the PF on the list. Let's put it this way. Or
The PF is for the device as a whole, right? For regions, we'll probably pass the VFs.
okay.
Let's say VF. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Sure.
I just put VF ID as a number. Number is so confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That way we can refer this region entirely to one of the VFs down here. Yeah.
Right.
So that won't affect the rest of the JSON, but this contains some extra information specifically for this FPGA.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, and that will help to report it to the placement.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And for other devices, we could have something similar as well. Like, let's say if they have their own weird topologies that needs to be reported placement, they can put it here. Okay.
So
Yep.
just to be clear,
So this sphere is going to be used by the placement.
No, it will be consumed by the agent, and then region reported to placement.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. Hey, Red, what was the question?
Yeah, a question about the regions field. So now the value is 1. Does it mean that there is one region in this accelerator?
Mm-hmm.
Or in this board?
Yeah, this is for this representation. There's only one region, because
Only one region.
yeah. But you could expand it. Like this is a list, right? You can explain.
Yeah, this is a list.
Yeah, so you can expand the. This is so hard to use. And then you have another region, and then.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Hey, Ed, I saw you have some questions. Ed, you there?
Yeah, I saw Eric has sent some message. If I will check.
Oh, okay. To be clear.
Sorry, what's the question again?
I think he's asking to be clear that I hear you speaking though. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that this stuff that we're working on here in this purple block, it's clear that this sort of information is going to be different depending on what kind of platform I'm running on. For example, devices that looks like a PCI address and path, relies on the sysfs being in place, which are things that happen on libvirt based setups, but aren't going to happen in other setups.
Mm-hmm. Right. But this doesn't have to be doesn't have to have anything to do with like libvirt, right? This is very specific to replacement.
Well, this also has nothing to do with placement. This information is not going to go into placement. Like this placement doesn't have a spot that you can put metadata like this.
So Eric, you are right. So it's partly device specific and partly platform specific. You probably need to separate the two parts out. The sys class FPGA stuff is today Linux specific, rather than I don't think it's libvirt.
Sorry, that's what I mean. Linux specific.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we need to separate that out. Okay.
And I mean, I'm saying that's fine. Like as long as if what we have here is in the Cyborg database, we have like a blob where we can store information that is going to be produced by and consumed by the platform. So that the platform can spit sysfs information at you, and you just store it, and then when it retrieves it back, it knows what to do with it. Same thing for other platforms. If I send you a location code, a DRC name from Power, you don't know what to do with it until you hand it back to platform specific code that knows how to read one of those things and associate it with whatever, right? So
Sure.
so like I think what I'm saying is like in the same spirit as OSVIF has these blocks of more specific information that need to be read at kind of a lower level. That this needs to have that same kind of idea going with it.
Okay. Leo, do you mind if I edit some of the lines here?
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So first, this vendor product, now we don't need it. It's all per region anyway.
Right.
And VFID is pretty much all we need.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get rid of all the stuff. And to reflect what
I think it's okay we report more stuff though. I think I'm just
sure.
This way we could put more information in here. It's just a matter if we will consume this information, right?
Absolutely, sure.
No.
But what if we do something like this? This all platform specific stuff goes into a separate JSON. It's produced and consumed by the corresponding driver or plugin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks better.
Yep. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Please go ahead, Leo and Coco.
Coco, go ahead.
So, and
where were you?
where are you? I just talk about the name address of the PF list, and still we need the VF list. If the VF list is empty, so like GPU, we don't have the VF functions, virtual functions. So this is what I show here is what I can think about these problems. So do you have any questions or suggestions?
I think structurally, I think that's good. I mean,
yeah, but I listed some of the class, method, and method. So I think that maybe driver need to implement.
Driver, okay. Do we really have this? Need to have this? So these classes are in the drivers, you said?
Yes, but I don't. But still, I don't know where can I put this code in which directory.
But this is, since this is very so this is vendor specific driver, right?
Yeah.
If it's vendor specific driver, I don't think we really need to guide them how to implement, right? As long as they comply with this JSON that we agreed on when they report the resources, we don't really care, right? We don't really care if they have those classes down there.
Okay, but I think if we provide a general object or general method to form this JSON, which is better. So
we could have a reference design, let's say, for the drivers, but really, then there's nothing we can do if the vendors just want to implement their own stuff, right?
So you think we have this kind of JSON data to form this data is the driver's responsibility?
Yeah, this driver needs to put the JSON in the right format that the agent could understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the all the agent sees is, okay, you give me a JSON report, and you give me a report in JSON format. That's all I care. I don't care how you have this report. I don't care. You just, okay, I asked for the report, give me a JSON, and then I parse the JSON. If anything goes wrong, I blame you. I couldn't understand what you said. This JSON is not understandable. I blame the driver. Right.
Okay.
But I don't care how you get a report to me, in whatever way you have. But all I care is a readable JSON to me.
Shaohe?
Yeah.
Are you here?
I'm here. Yeah.
Do you agree with Lee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's good that you have a reference design on the driver so people can follow.
Okay. Yeah, I will improve the IPC driver for other design, for other reference.
Right. But there's, from the agent point of view, I don't think there's any way that we can just force them to use this design. They can just do whatever they want. But for us, they just give us a JSON that we understand. That's all. Right.
Just to be clear, this is not a JSON, but an Oslo versioned object. This is basically a Python dictionary with the namespace and the version. That's a standard in OpenStack, right?
Oh, you want, okay. So you want, instead of having that JSON, you want to report those objects instead, right?
No, I'm saying this portion here in line 118, for example, can be a JSON, but the overall structure, like starting from 107, for example, that whole thing is OVO. What the driver returns back to the agent is OVO.
I see.
Because that needs to be versioned, right? Drivers will evolve independently, and agents will evolve independently. So to keep sure that they can talk across versions, we are following the standard convention of using OVOs.
Oh, I see what you mean. So instead of the JSON, you report your like those objects, right?
Right.
I mean, it winds up being JSON when it goes across the wire, but it's specifically tagged so that it can be, deserialized at the other end, and so that we know which, who, when the sender sent something, what version they sent it at, and there's all kinds of logic for converting from one version to another when we're talking across different versions and so forth.
I see. Okay. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Okay, then yeah.
So we should have the class
Yeah.
and the method as well for this kind of.
Well, if we
Uh,
formalize in the classes, then
yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
better for maintenance. So yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
So you wanna know where to put these classes?
Yeah, I just listed some of the class and some of the method I can think of, but I don't know where to put these. Is that correct if I put this on the object directory? I think object is much. I think object is much calmer for the DB.
Yes, I think it's for the DB. Let me see.
Sander, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah.
Where can I put this code?
Is there a way in the shall we put the agent somewhere? This
So typically go to the objects directory. Like that's what others do as well. Any OVO goes to the objects directory, I think.
I mean, that makes sense. This is an object that's going to be used to talk between different parts of the service, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you put it in agent and it was used by the agent and the conductor, then that wouldn't make sense. And if you put it in, so it makes sense to put it in objects if it's going to be shared.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Could
But I would think it also needs to be importable from the implementer of the driver or the plugin or whatever, right? So wherever it goes, I need to be able to import it when I do my implementation, my driver.
am I right? Oh. Okay.
Yep.
So, any other suggestions? Since we have the JSON format and we all lately form the object class.
So I think we should.
Yeah.
Sander, I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Once we align upon these details, I think we should update the specification just to make sure we are all on the same page. The etherpad is good for discussion. We need something probably more concrete and less ambiguous, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should probably update the specifications for this one.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, So Coco, you want to draft the specification on this? Or Sander, you do it? I don't know.
We already have a specification. We can go and update that one. That's the link I gave, right?
Oh
We
yeah,
can,
but that was okay, sure.
Yeah.
Just add it on that one. Okay.
Yeah, it will probably be almost like a rewrite because the previous one was like one layer on top of what's already existed. So we should probably collect everything in one place and make it a self-contained spec.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Shahe, what do you mean by these questions?
Which one?
So
No.
you can scroll down your I added some functions.
So you mean this function should be included in my class?
Maybe
in the drive?
maybe we have a discuss. So so if we want to let the scheduler have a good choice, so we must provide the trees provider.
Okay.
And okay, sorry, this is should be inventory. And
So the agent should also form this kind of generate this kind of trace or provider data. Provider.
I think so. Yes, Sandra, what's your opinion?
But
So
this one, because this is an object. This is an object method, right? The class method belong to this object. It could happen at the agent time, right? When the driver reported to the agent and the agent tried to update the placement, that's when this method can be called. It doesn't have to be driver calling this.
But I think a driver should report enough information to generate the trees.
Yeah, but the driver should report it, but what's the caller of your method here? What's the caller? Who is calling this one?
I think the agent should call this function.
So this function is used for agent.
It'll be a combination of both, actually, right?
I think no. This function is called function should call. So for only driver know the detailed information of accelerator agent yeah. So now there should be a treat field in the object.
I'm sorry, what is the question or the comment?
Yeah. So there should be a treat field in the object, right?
Yeah. So some things like region type ID, for example, were already in that dictionary defined. The agent can build the trait itself. Whereas for other things, the agent would not know because it's not a standard property. It could be platform specific or device specific. So in that case, the driver itself returns the trait and the agent decides it on.
My question is then can we generate the trees from attribute list?
So for standard attributes,
yeah. So what should be in the attributes?
Region function. At least for, let's see, we also have this what we call product, or I think call it device family trait or something like that, right?
Device trait.
The agent can create the trait.
Okay.
For non-standard device specific traits, I shouldn't call this device specific. I should call this driver specific. It will be platform or device specific.
So can you give us an example of the attribute list?
Okay, the attribute list will be like what we had in line number. Let's see, where is that thing? It's line number 122. Region type UID, function type UID, etc., etc. This will be used to create traits. Can you please go to line 122?
122. Okay.
Which line? Sorry, I just leave for a moment.
122.
Yeah.
So now, can we give us an example?
Okay. Agent can, yes. Not, for example, we want to join the traits. FPG first. How does it present? Okay. Here, let me. Oh, I have to go to the other one. Okay, let's see. The function type UIDs is already there. The regions info returned by the driver. Line 122. Line 123. Okay. Shahar, can you see that line 123?
Yeah, I can see.
Yep. So basically, some things are standard. The driver can simply return that as a string. And the agent will make a trait out of that. Some things are not standard. They're platform specific or device specific. So driver will return the entire trait, and the agent just passes on. Yeah.
Do we want to consider namespacing those to guarantee no conflicts? In other words, put a, so custom underscore and then some prefix that indicates sort of which area owns this particular trait.
Sure. Yep. We could name it after the driver, perhaps. It could be custom underscore driver underscore something.
Sure, that would be fine. I think probably making sure that the ones that are defined by Cyborg have a Cyborg tag in them or something. Even to the point of perhaps Cyborg agent, Cyborg driver, whatever, might be that would be the safest thing, because then when some plugin or driver decides that it doesn't follow the rules properly and creates a trait that doesn't have a namespace tag, that it doesn't accidentally conflict with something that you guys already own.
For Cyborg generic traits, what we're currently saying is this like custom underscore GPU underscore something, or custom FPGA something, and so on. You are saying that's not enough? Like, which that itself indicates it's kind of generic across all devices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying it might be enough. It would probably be enough for most cases. I'm saying if you wanted to be real safe, it would be, you know, custom underscore, this is owned by Cyborg, don't mess with it, underscore GPU, whatever, right?
Hmm.
You know, I'm just saying, just to be safe, because what we ran into in Nova was that we wanted there to be able to be, instead of a single source of truth for traits, there was going to be the ability to specify for users to specify them, for the platform to specify them, for Nova to specify them. And so in order to make all of that work, it's also the case that it's not good enough for me to just set the traits that I know need to be set. I also need to be able to unset traits that I know I own that happen to be set that I know need to be unset, right? The example here being, for instance, CPU capabilities. There are traits corresponding to CPU capabilities, and Nova is the source of truth for those traits. So if the user comes along and tries to set one of those traits, then Nova is responsible for coming in and saying, oh, that one's not right, and unsetting it. But if the user comes in and sets some random, you know, magic snowflake trait, then the compute start, you know, Nova has no business going and saying, oh, that one shouldn't be set, right? It needs to leave that one alone because the user gets to. So if there's a similar sort of philosophy here for these traits that are being managed by Cyborg, then, you know, it's safest to have some way for us to be able to, for Cyborg and also for the other pieces that are involved here, to be able to identify whether a trait is owned by Cyborg, even if it's not, you know, even if it's a trait that it's never seen that specific one before, if that makes sense, right? When the code gets written, there's some trait that, you know, hasn't been invented yet, but later on that trait comes along and gets invented.
These informations has to be in the name of the trait, not in some of the metadata or anything like that, right? It has to be.
That's true. There is no metadata on a trait.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're talking about a separate field that's metadata, but traits don't have metadata.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, Eric, I'm fine with that. I'm hoping that whatever's custom now will eventually become a standard trait within a release or two. We're starting with the custom versions first.
I mean, maybe, but, you know, these function UUIDs are never going to be standard traits, are they?
Why not? It'll be common to all FPGAs, right?
Will they? Okay. I mean, if that's the case, then, I mean, I don't know how many of them we're talking about there being, but yeah, if that's the case, then great. You know, standard traits, we don't have to worry about conflicts because we can enumerate all of them. They don't need to be namespaced per se. And if we declare that, you know, Cyborg owns these, then Cyborg owns these, and we don't have to worry about it. So that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I'm fine with putting in a namespace for that, also a custom Cyborg something.
Sure.
And make it a standard one later.
Sander, excuse me, could you please add that in the conclusion?
Sure. Okay.
988.
Line 88. Okay. Sure.
I just couldn't understand where.
Is it fine?
Okay.
Good.
Maybe it's better under the conclusion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Lee. Lee.
I think he
Lee,
stepped
are you
out for
here?
he stepped out for a moment. He said so in the chat.
Okay. So what I'm going to. Anyone, do you have any questions?
Also, we are kind of agreed that we'll allow both standard and driver specific traits. We also, example for MDEV devices. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if I have any concrete examples of standard traits for MDEV devices specifically. If others can suggest that, it'll be great. I think for MDEV devices, you need something at attach time. Whether it needs separate traits for that is something we need to discuss.
Still, we don't have the MDEV device driver.
Yes, we don't have any such thing today in Cyborg.
Yeah.
We also need to define the agent to conductor path, right? How will the agent update the conductor, etc., etc.? Is the part well defined?
Sorry, Sander. Could you please write down?
Okay, yeah, let me write down.
My listening is not that good.
No, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's just, I'm not sure of what we need, agent, conductor, and database. But the agent needs to update the conductor updates database, also updates placement. So is that path totally clear, or are there any open questions around it?
Yeah.
Conductor DB.
So, for example, does the conductor define all the RPC APIs for the agent to update the conductor?
I think we already have the deployable or accelerator DB method, which we can use in the agent or use in the new. In this new driver object, we can call the deployable or the accelerator object method to update the DB.
Yeah.
So the agent has to call to the conductor, right? There should be an RPC API defined for that.
Yeah, we don't have the RPC APIs now.
No, we don't. I think we now do it through that what they call
REST API?
the placement client, right? Xiaohe, did you? I think you did that part, right? That's through REST API to update the placement.
Yeah, we have one.
Is this through REST or through RPC?
I think it's through RPC.
Do you mean the placement?
Yeah, placement client on the Cyborg side.
I'm not talking of placement.
They are RESTful.
No, those are RESTful, yeah.
Liu?
Yep.
I'm not referring to placement. First, Cyborg agent should update its own conductor and database.
Oh, that's RPC for sure, yep.
And the conductor should then update the placement. The conductor to placement could be via REST API, because placement gives a REST API interface.
Yeah.
But everything within Cyborg should be RPC based.
Yeah, for sure. Coco, we should have those RPC already, right? To update for the agent to update the database. We have the RPC.
Yeah, we have the. By now, we only have the FPGA. We only have the code which is used for FPGA. We don't have a common one.
Hi, excuse me. This is Yuhao.
This is Black.
And let me see. Sander, you see that how we update the data to conductor. It exists, and we have the interface like create deployable, create accelerator.
So let me show you code.
Yeah.
In the agent resource tracker.
The conduct API. Yeah.
So the agent can call the
agent can call the RPC API of conductor and update the database.
Yes. This is what we call the conductor API. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, we using the RPC call.
I think.
Okay. I mean that in agent, we use the update usage loop to update the device metadata, and first collect the information from the driver, and then update the conductor to the metadata to the DB, and third, we update the information to placement.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things missing here. One is that the agent is going to be repeatedly polling the various drivers. So we need to report a diff between what was previously present and what is newly discovered, or what is newly deleted, perhaps.
Yeah, by now, I think Shaohe have write some code about the diff method. Yeah, but it's on their FPGA drivers, or not. We can write the common one. I think the diff method.
So a couple of questions there. One is, should the agent be doing the diff itself and sending the diff over to the conductor? Or the agent can simply send the entire Oslo versioned object directly to the conductor, and the conductor does a diff. So
okay, I see. You mean is agent or the driver do the diff method?
The driver should ideally not do the diff because it does not have any idea of the previous version.
Yeah.
That agent can store the previous version itself.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's probably simplest for the agent to do the diff. And secondly, instead of calling create deployable and create trait and everything as separate methods, ideally the agent should send over one blob, send over one dictionary or one object to the conductor, and the conductor then does necessary updates. Yep. Okay. The downside of this approach is that the agent diffs the data is that agent needs to store the previous version, right? If the agent crashes and restarts, you'll just lost the previous version. It needs to persist the previous state. Whereas the conductor does it, it can just work off the database. So it will be simplest perhaps for the agent to just send the object over. The conductor does a diff based on the previous database entry and updates as necessary. It will also be more efficient for network communication because you are not calling a create deployable, create rate, a lot of RPC calls. You're just doing one RPC call to send the whole information over.
Okay.
Do you want me to write that down?
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry.
sure. Oh, no problem, that's fine. Does it make sense? I have some typos here. Okay.
Yes, but
It is. Okay.
Okay, I think it's better in the agent, in the conductor doing the diff. I
Mhm.
I agree with Thunder. So anyone has other opinions?
So
Hi, Thunder.
Yep.
I guess you mean that we should do the diff on the conductor.
Yes.
For this reason, I think we can do the diff on agent and expose a interface named create accelerator list or create deployable list. Agent can call this interface to update the information to conductor.
For the agent to do the diff, it should keep the previous configuration somewhere, right?
The agent, the previous config is lost.
I guess
I
you
think
put
that
story-
I think the driver should update to the agent the whole config all the time.
Yes, I agree totally. Yes, let's put it as a conclusion. Yeah, the driver should update the.
Since the driver is but now the driver is update the whole all the GPU informations or all the FPGA informations. So everything we should do is just to diff the previous config and then update to the conductor. I think if we update in the agent, that may be okay.
Yeah, driver updates the entire config. My question is, if the agent dies and restarts, how will it get back the previous config?
I think it's okay if it doesn't get the previous config, since the driver is updated periodically. So it will gather config next time or next when the driver update to the agent.
The diff means that, so for example, let's say hot adding a device, a new device showed up.
Hi, Thunder.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's-
I mean, if we does the diff on the conductor, who report the infer to placement?
Conductor. You have to first persist that in the Cyborg database before updating placement. Conversely, when you delete something, you delete in placement first and then delete in the Cyborg database. The Cyborg database is a source of truth for all accelerated related stuff.
So when agent call conductor to update the information of a device, and the conductor will update at the same time, update placement at the same time.
Yes, it will update the database and then the placement. So there are pros and cons for both. Let's just one thing to point out, right? If you put everything in the conductor may become the scalability bottleneck because it has to handle all the compute nodes in the entire cluster. On the flip side, if you put everything in the agent, then the question is like, let's say you add a new device, okay? So that diff needs to be reported to the conductor. However, the agent needs to know what are the list of devices previously present. So it needs to maintain a local copy of the entire host configuration so it can calculate a diff. The question then becomes, if the agent crashes, what happens to the previous host configuration, like which the agent is keeping a copy of? Do you see what I'm saying? So
but I think the agent can store the. Okay. Oh, I know. Yes.
So one solution would be to say that the agent stores the previous config in just the local disk. It's not using a database or anything. It's just storing it like some kind of file and it's reading it back as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it works in every case though. What if you're trying to use some uncommon thing like a diskless workstation, for example? I don't know. I don't know if it's a common thing or not. What if there is no local disk per se, working off the network?
Okay, I know what you mean.
This one is kind of an open question, actually.
Yes, but I think the agent can maybe the agent can still store this config in the agent. If the agent restart or crashes, it may get the get the data from the database then I think what if we have discussed these questions about where to update the data to the placement. So we discussed the conclusion is that we use the agent to update their place to update information to placement. So if we change if we use these if we use these ways, maybe we'll change that.
I think it's not correct for the agent to update placement directly, because it should first be stored in Cyborg database. Only then placement should be updated. Because Cyborg should be a source of truth for all accident related stuff. So you should first persist your information before updating placement. Okay. But the agent versus conductor, I'm open to this thing. I'm not saying that when I think you're saying the agent should do the diff. That part is okay. Okay. Let me modify this thing. Okay. Agent sends the diff to the conductor. The conductor updates the DB.
Yeah.
And then updates placement. The reason is if the conductor does the diff, give me 1 moment, please. Just. Previous config. Previous config in localhost. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it includes new devices, old devices gone, changes to existing devices. Yes, all of those. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Sorry.
Can you give a simple example here?
Okay. Is it a good example? So basically, after programming, you need to change the function type.
Yeah.
So how do you indicate that? So you have to say something in the object being sent to the conductor that delete the straight, add the straight, or something like that.
Yes. So there. So
Hi, Sander. Sorry. Hi, Sander.
Yep.
This is Zhenghao. You say that we want to program FPGA. I think if we have a FPGA, we programmed it by Cyborg API. So Cyborg knows that this change and will update the DB by conductor.
Not really, right? Like programming will be done by Cyborg agent. The agent may actually fetch a bit stream and do the programming. That's the way it's defined today. So it is not necessarily through Cyborg REST API.
I mean that we program via API, and API will call Cyborg agent and Cyborg conductor. For Cyborg agent, we do the real thing that program and call conductor to update the DB.
The way it works today is that when you want to place a VM and the VM asks for, let's say, a particular function, the node may actually choose a compute node in which the function is not present. So Cyborg agent will notice the diff, and it's going to say that, okay, this function is not present. So it's going to query glance, get a bit stream, and do the programming. So that part is done entirely in the compute node and not from the REST API.
Okay, I see. And Coco, can you share the exist code?
About what?
The resource tracker. Oh yeah. Update usage.
Okay.
Thunder. 放下。Yeah. I mean that if we move this process to the conductor, it's the same as agent. Here are the add, delete, and
Modify.
Update, yeah, update process here.
This process, we have the new accelerators and the old one, so we do the diff. Zhao, what do you mean?
That I mean that we want to lost the previous config in this process.
I'm sorry, I'm not following the question. Are you asking whether this code is okay, or asking for some change to this code?
Yeah. I mean that if some exchange exists on FPGA, and the conductor and the agent who does the diff it's not a problem.
Okay.
Which do you prefer? Okay. The conductor or the agent? I think both have bottlenecks and advantages.
Mm-hmm. The conductor does the diff, has to do that for every single compute node. So as the cluster size grows, it will become a scalability bottleneck. That will make it multi-threaded and all that stuff. If the agent does the diff, that's more distributed, but then it's more complicated to send the diff. Like, how do you indicate to the conductor you should delete this and add this and all that stuff? So the way you communicate to the conductor becomes more complex, and the agent has to keep some local copy of the configuration, etc.
Yeah. So I think maybe we can discuss this later, since we can add the new code first.
I mean, this is a fundamental question, right? This is about how the Cyborg path works, even for discovery and enumeration. We can probably do some changes like the driver agent API changes, but we probably need to decide this soon, right? we need.
Yeah. It's a questions after all. Okay.
So what we could do something like this, right? We could say that keep it simple, leave it to the conductor. If we hit scalability issues, make the conductor multi-threaded.
Yeah.
Right.
So you prefer the conductor way?
So,
Actually, I'm just debating back and forth. I mean, I can see the positives and negatives.
so,
Uh-huh.
so the conclusion is that conductor report report provide trees and resource cluster to placement, right?
Yeah, the conductor should update placement. Yes.
Yeah. So agent will have no interaction with the placement.
Yeah, the agent should not update placement directly until the change is persisted in Cyborg database, which the conductor will do. Sure. So I think what we should do for this diff issue is we can probably open a mail thread and we can just discuss there. Is it fine? Okay. Sounds good. Cool. I'm sorry, who's typing now?
Coco.
Oh, okay, sure. Agent lost data. Okay. Can retrieve from database. Yes, I agree with that, Coco. The problem, however, would be what is the format of the message which the agent sends to the conductor? So for each device, does say delete this and add this. We can probably still work something out. Let me slide it here. we need to define the format of the message from the agent to the conductor. As an example, could say for each device, it has two sections. What is to be deleted, what is to be added for each modified device. Plus two more sections. What devices got added, what got deleted. Right? So message with three parts. Here are the new devices. Here are the deleted devices. And for the changed device, you have to indicate what exactly got changed. What is new and what's old. What needs to be changed. So if we can define that format clearly, yeah, we could say that it's all in the agent. If you say that the agent lost data, it can retrieve from DB, there are problems with it. So for example, let's say agent got update. There is some background noise.
Not me.
Okay. Okay. So let's say the agent sent a message to the conductor. Okay. Then the agent died and restarted. So before the conductor actually persisted it, you already lost the data for some reason.
Yeah.
Windows and
that's
race
the problem.
Yeah. It's probably simpler to keep a local copy. I think local copy should work in most cases, unless you got some very unusual kind of host where there is no disk. There's no local storage, and where do you store it? Right? The other question is, what happens if the compute node reboots? Right?
Yeah.
The whole thing
yeah.
Totally. Then do you send a diff or do you send the entire config?
It's better.
Better to send the entire config? If you send the entire config, the conductor has to know that, hey, we already had some records for this compute node. It needs to do a diff in that case.
Yes. I got what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your advice. That's a big question. That's really a big question.
Right.
Okay. I will update the spec with Lee.
Which spec are you talking about?
Maybe the document. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The document about how the driver update to the agent as well as the DB.
So there's already a spec, like I said. I can update some parts of it for driver to agent interface. For agent to conductor, if you want to write a separate spec or document, that's totally fine.
Yeah. So we make her. So that can be write down in the conclusion part, I think, since it's important, right?
Yes.
So this first.
Can you tell me which doc you're referring to? It's this etherpad or something else?
Oh, something else. We don't show in the spec. Something else.
Uh-huh.
So Sandra, could you please write down what we discussed about the? I think maybe I can copy.
Shall we? Okay. Can I ask this question?
Sure.
I can update with the driver agent changes. If you want to add the agent conductor DB changes there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that will be good.
Yep.
Okay.
So you'll have one document or one specification covers everything.
Okay. So I will move this to the.
Okay.
Okay, to the conclusion. Okay. Oh, Sander, thank you for your time. I think it's time to go to pick offline.
I know it's pretty late for you guys. Okay, thanks a lot for staying back so late. So
yeah, thank you for your time and you are really nice.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, and for your patience. Since we don't have good listening. Yes.
Good. Okay. So have a good night, all of you. Yeah. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay.